Welcome to Flags on Fire, where the podcast is about all things flag football, the growth of the game, where we look to bring on top coaches, leaders in the game, administrators, and even some top players to talk about the current state of flag football, the growth of the game, and kind of where we're heading, leading up to the Olympics in 2028. So today, honored to have on Rudy Fernandez, who has a vast background in football, flag football. He's going to go into that a little bit, but even most notably, is the defensive coordinator, assistant coach for the U.S. national team, U.S. men's national team too. So, thank you, Coach, for taking the time to be on here today. I appreciate it.
Oh man, of course, I'm excited to be here. I love talking flags. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear kind of your origin story. Part of the country you grew up in. You know, if athletics was a big part of your family, kind of your sporting experience growing up.
Yeah, definitely. So sports was not a big part of my family growing up. My dad didn't really care about sports until I really started coaching. So yeah, I just fell in love with football at an early age. And then I very quickly realized I was probably going to be a better coach than a player. So I got an opportunity to coach flag football all the way back in 2003, and that's when it started.
Nice. Now, did you play flag at all? I thought I read that you had some experience as a flag player as well.
Yeah, I played flag from about 1999 to 2016.
Okay, and you played at a pretty high level in flag, didn't you?
Yeah, I played in normally in the Top Gun division. My team was probably on the lower end of that Top Gun division. We never won any major tournaments. We would compete, but those back in the day, those teams like Goose Crew and MOB and those guys, they would put a whooping on me.
Hey, so what version of flag were you playing back then? Was it 5v5? Was it 7-on-7?
We played 4-on-4.
4-on-4. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. That's yeah. I don't remember where I grew up in. I mean, I live in Phoenix, Arizona now. I grew up in Ohio in the Midwest, and I mean, football was big there. Although I don't remember flag being an option. Maybe it was. I just never played it growing up. But it seems that it's obviously grown. It's much more prevalent today for sure.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's grown, and the 5-on-5 is, my opinion, one of my favorite formats.
Yeah. So you went from playing to 2016, and then now talk about your kind of transition to coaching and where that led you.
Yeah. So my mom worked at a school, and the PE coach had kids that wanted to play flag football, and he gave me a call and said, "Hey, do you want to coach these kids?" I was 18 years old, no, 23, 19 years old, and I was like, "Man, I no, I don't want to coach." And he's like, "Come give it a shot. I'll give you $1,000." And yeah, that was awesome. So, so I did it, and I fell in love with coaching right away. It was amazing. I took a group of kids that I've never played before, and my first season we made it to the championship. It was just a great experience, and I fell in love with it.
From there, what did you take? Because I think I read or had heard that so you started a big, if it was a club team that won a lot of, had a lot of accolades at the national level, or was it Ryan's team or Ryan's league?
Right. So in 2001, my brother passed away of an accident, and his name was Ryan. And then I was always thinking of a way to honor his name. And in 2005, I started on Ryan Football, which took a group of kids and we started playing and we grew. We did really good. We won. We were at one point we were one of the best, if not the best program in the country. And we won a lot of national championships. And Jason, I always say I'm very fortunate, right? I was surrounded by great people and great athletes, right? I had a lot of support from the parents, and from there we were able to accomplish a lot of really cool things. And countless athletes got on a plane for the first time in their lives to travel to play flag football, and it was great. And the winning is obviously always great, but it was those experiences that really was pretty amazing.
Now, before we kind of dive down the path of your really the elite level that you're coaching at, obviously with the U.S. Men's national team, as we look at growing the game, and you have involvement with the women's game too, right? At the collegiate level, is that right?
Yeah, I'm the offensive coordinator at Nevada State University.
Okay. So a
So
big part
yeah,
in getting flag football on the map, and I think obviously the Olympics helps that, but a lot of growth is on the women's side of things as well. So in order for that to continue to gain traction, and you see we need at the youth level, we need, kids to participate, to show up to play, then you really need people to step up and offer to volunteer their time as youth coaches. And with good youth
right.
coaches, without that, it doesn't work. So if you're trying to encourage somebody to get into coaching for the first time at the youth level, and maybe they don't feel confident about it, or they don't they don't have a background in flag, I mean, what advice might you have for them? What are some good resources maybe that you'd guide them to that might help them?
Well, one of the biggest resources is YouTube, right? Um, there's so much information on YouTube. There's some good information, there's some bad information. And then definitely like go on websites like USA Football and stuff. They have clinics for coaches and kind of just the fundamentals. I always tell coaches when they're getting into it, and keep it simple, keep it fun, right? Work those fundamentals, and the rest follows, right? But don't try to get all fancy and do double handoffs and throwbacks, and you know teach the athletes how to run slants and properly receive a handoff, and then go from there.
Okay, great. And how did you get affiliated with USA Football, or up to current with Team USA?
Yeah, so back in 22, there was an opportunity to be the defensive coordinator for the 17U boys. And, I interviewed and I got that position. And then unfortunately, I got COVID right before the junior cup. So I wasn't able to participate. Or was that was year 21, 22, sorry. And then, yeah, so then the next year I was able to keep my position, and I've grown in the program since.
I said, and so have you coached on the offensive side of the ball too in flag, or mainly you kind of just specialize in defense, or coached at all?
No, I coach both sides of the ball. For Team USA, I've been head coach, offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator.
Okay,
And
well,
for seven women as well, I coach both defense and offense. I learned at a young age. I love offense, but I learned at a young age, for me to be the best offensive coordinator I could be, I had to master defense. Because we know defense has rules, rules need to be followed. And as the offense, I always tell young offensive coordinators, your job is to break the rules of defense. Right? If you pull a coach out of what he feels comfortable with because you're beating it, the offensive coach is winning. Right? Like winning that mental battle. And it's a chess game. And same thing as a defensive coordinator. If what they love to run on offense, you're just shutting it down, and they start doing things they don't like, you're at a huge advantage. So yeah, I love both sides of the ball. In my heart, Jason, I'm an offensive coach. Um, just because of my personality, I'm loud. I like jumping around, and just on the offensive side of the ball, you get, it's a little more electrifying.
yeah. Yeah, so I can relate in a sense where I have kids. I have a 14-year-old boy and who's heading into high school, and an 11-year-old daughter. And so when my son was 5, he got into flag football, and I started coaching everything. So I've been coaching flag probably for 10 years. I've coached some tackle too, but there were times when I would be maybe the only coach, and so I was forced to coach both sides, offense and defense. And
Right.
up to most recent years, there's a guy that I coach with. He's gotten to be really good at coaching the defense, and I coach the offense. I kind of like having him just handle the defense, and me just have to
Right.
focus worry about the offense. But it does bring up a good point. I think that you'd be better on either side of the ball if you know that other side well, and kind of would give you ideas on how to shut it down or how to exploit it.
Right. Yeah, agreed.
So in the flag sense, what do you think separates elite defenses from maybe average defenses?
So, one thing I've noticed, right? So you call offense, right? I call offense. What I've noticed is when a team stays in the same one or two defenses all game, you call offense, you start exploiting it, right? Oh, I know they're going to go into a cover two, right? Right. I know which corner's dropping every time, or if they're dropping the linebacker, they're both shooting back. I'm gonna bang that middle of the field. So my thing on defense is I call a defense like I call an offense. right? We're calling in plays, and we're showing the same front for the most part, right? I don't like showing if I'm going cover two or cover one or man cover zero, right? I like we pretty much show the same thing the whole time. And the truth of the matter is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the quarterback confused, right? Which corner is dropping here? I'm trying to attack this flat, And if as a defensive coach, if I can take that first read away from the quarterback, now my rushers get to work. If we give up that first read, I think in the men's team, we got the best rusher in the world. His name's Flash, Sean Thread. He's amazing. Even being the best rusher in the world, if we don't take away that first read, he's never getting to that quarterback. So that's our big thing. Take away the first read by changing the concept every play, right? Excuse me, changing the play, keeping similar concepts, and then letting a rusher get to work. So I change the defense a lot. We can run on an IFAF rules, it's 4 to the first down, 4 to the touchdown. We can run 4 different defenses on that first drive. Right? So, yeah, that's just, I really like that. As an offensive coordinator, I love when the other team stays in the same defense.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I think that generally speaking that flag, and especially in the fives format with there's so much space that it could be very high scoring. I was reading that in a I don't know 5 game stretch, I think you gave up 60 or 65 points, which is very very minimal. So like really low scoring, which is odd because I think it can be tough to play elite level defense with some of the athletes that you're facing, with all the space that you got out there. He seems to be a little bit more geared towards offense.
Oh yeah, the game's made for offense, right? Especially the international rules, right? It's geared towards the offense. So it's just a matter of you always say let's make that quarterback's brain sizzle just a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Oh, that first read, it's gone, and now where they're going through a progression, like I said, I believe the rusher is the most important position on the field, and our job is to make it just a little easier on them and take away. You'll hear me say it a bunch. I love taking away the first read. That's really what we talk about a lot on all my defenses. Whether it's I coach 14U girls all the way to the men's in college, and that's something we talk about. Take away the first read.
So in fives, what would be the kind of the key differences versus what we maybe know it here in the U.S. versus international rules?
So absolutely no contact, right? Like if we go to a Southwest Showdown tournament, hard count, even NFL flag, it's non-contact, but there's a little bit of contact. They'll let you kind of play through the ball a little bit. International play, none. And there's weird rules, right? If you're running a pick route, like if you're running a pick route, if the defender's feet aren't set, like in basketball, and they're just following it, there's any contact with that receiver, or if the receiver has to change his path or her path, it's a penalty. So it's just, you have to play a lot more with your feet, right? Footwork and that fundamental of the footwork has to be that much more important.
Is that tough to kind of like as you're gearing your Team USA up? Obviously they got to be having competition, so whatever formats they're playing in, or is it a tough transition to kind of go from what they're used to the no contact whatsoever as they prep for the Olympics?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a transition. What USA Football does that's great is for all our training camps, they have international refs there, right? So all our scrimmages, all our drills, there are referees there. So, you'll notice the first day of training camp, there's a lot more flags. And then as training camp goes on, the players start figuring it out, right? Like in this rule, there's a big thing. If the offensive guy is running or girl is running, you can set your feet in front and take a charge, right? In any of the tournaments we do, there's no charging penalty. Mm-hmm. But you rarely see it called. Here, we prepare for it, right? If he's coming, he's out of control, just set in front of him. Take the charge, because the penalty's back from the line of scrimmage. So, just, little intricate things like that we have to kind of, just prepare for.
Yeah. Now, what what international competitions are there leading up to the Olympics, and when is the training camp, the timing of that?
Right. So we just had training camp this weekend that just passed. I got home last night. So what we do is we have our tryouts, and then this year wasn't a reset year. So the 12 active players from last year automatically made the top 24. And then we had a training camp with 24 in April, and we had one this weekend where we actually had to cut down from 24 to 18 players. So now we have an 18-person roster. That's our roster, and then in June, excuse me, we go from 18 to 12, and we'll have 6 alternates and 12 active players. And then we have one more training camp in July, and then in August we go to Germany for the IFAF World Championship, which is great. We actually got our group play. It's us, America, Samoa, Nigeria, and Israel is in our group. So we're pretty excited. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Israel plays very, very well, so we're excited. We've been watching film on them. We'll be ready.
Is there like a kind of a primary rivalry with the U.S. men's team?
Mexico, Mexico. In my opinion, that's our rival. I guess you can call it a rivalry. They've never beat us, but they play well. They play really good. Mexico has an amazing program, men and women. They're well coached. They have great athletes. They invest in the program. I think Mexico is a top tier program.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Talk about the experience with, or I guess before I go into that, so in August when that occurs, is that on ESPN? Will that be on ESPN? Will that be I don't know that I've seen that in the past. I want to make sure I tune into it this year.
Yeah, so definitely, I think it's Neva TV. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's free. I think it's an app, and then you're able to watch all the games, every country's games, which is
Nice.
fun because so many different countries have figured out a way how to use their athletes. Like Japan does not have the biggest athletes, but they're all extremely quick, right? So they have kind of like a razzle dazzle offense, double throwback pitch. It's a lot almost like they have like a zone read kind of.
Hmm.
So yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's a lot of fun. I've actually learned a lot from the other countries and used it in my club team's offense.
Yeah, no, it's fun watching. Like even watching that Fanatics event, the Team USA versus some of the NFL guys, like just finding some good ideas off of that, or like splitting off the quarterbacks wide, and some of those things where I don't know, I guess more traditionally have gone with one quarterback, but there's been some cases where I have a team where there's two or three good decent quarterback options where you can kind of split that field a little bit, which is cool.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's if defenses haven't seen it very often, it breaks every rule in defense. So it's fun. There's flag football is all about creating space, and that offense creates space.
Yeah. Well, I will say I had a lot of fun watching the event, that Fanatics event. I mean, it was really good, and to see some of those Team USA guys, and I don't know all the names, but some of these guys were just electric, so quick, and some of the way they're maneuvering their hips and they're going down, kind of the dip moves, I mean, it just and some of the current NFL guys like, who are in great shape, and Saquon and Vontae, and like some of the, I mean, just seeing them out there and the way they looked out there was awesome. You got to have some. I got to imagine you got to have some good stories from that.
Oh man, let me tell you, I've been fortunate to have a lot of really cool experiences coaching, but that takes the cake. It was great, and yeah, and let me tell you, all those NFL guys were so cool. They were nice, and it's a big deal for our guys, right? Like, yes, we are the best flag football team in the world, but on Sundays, every single one of us watches the NFL, right? And it was awesome, man. It was really cool. Actually, the coolest guy was Crawford, the boxer.
Really?
He might have been one of the coolest people I've ever met. Bud was awesome. I was I was fanboying.
Yeah,
Cool
yeah,
guy.
yeah. No, I think that I don't know. I think I've read enough about it, like after the fact that I think it opened a lot of people's eyes up. You know, so people when it was announced at the Olympics and your general fan or your fan of the NFL just assume automatically the best NFL players or they're the best in the world, and you could just translate very easily, kind of plug them in, and seeing the people that have done it at a high level for a long time, and so just even from a flag pulling standpoint, I mean, that's a skill, and it takes a ton of reps and time, and some of those NFL guys who are great athletes and have great hand-eye coordination. I mean, they weren't as adept at pulling flags as your guys. I mean, clearly, so it was cool to see.
Yeah, it was fun. Football in its pure sense, football is football, but flag football and tackle football are two completely different sports, right? It's kind of like beach volleyball and regular volleyball. It's just different.
With that said, do you see some similarities in terms of how you prep your defender, some of the drills, some of the things that you put them through from a defensive back standpoint, or I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Same, a lot of same drills, right? Drills on turning your hips, opening up, man turn versus zone turn. How to tempo your drop, right? There's sometimes where, you know, on a certain coverage, you're kind of bailing quick. There's times where you're tempoing it, just like regular football. I use a lot of the same terminology, right? Like I don't call cover two a box, right? That's in the flag world. Everyone's like, "Oh, get it to a box." It's cover two, right? So I still call man cover zero, single high. I still call it a cover one. Cover two is two safeties. I try to keep that terminology the same. And yeah, definitely similarities, right? You got to break on the ball. We do a lot of the same tackle drills, except the breakdown's completely different, right? In tackle, you're taught to go through the guy, right? Back in the day, we can't say it anymore, but we used to tell the athletes and coaches would tell me, bite the ball, right? Go through. Now we're kind of breaking down way before, but I'll still use the same terminology. You got to buzz your feet before you pull the flag, right? Just because most in the men's side, they all play tackle before. So buzz your feet before tackle is kind of the same concept.
Yeah, I think you have some unique perspective in the sense that you're coaching men at the highest level, and then you're coaching collegiate women too. So talk a little bit about the differences there that you've seen, and maybe kind of segue into a little bit into the women's game and what you project as future growth of the sport.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been involved in the women's game for a long time. I actually had my first all girls team back in '08 in Miami. But a lot of people talk about kind of like coaching girls and coaching boys or for men and women. And I always tell people I'm a football coach, right? I don't when it comes to coaching, I coach football. I don't coach a man and a woman differently, a girl and a boy differently. I'm a football coach. You're going to get Rudy 100% of the time, right? It is what it is. When it comes to the similarities, we run through the same drills, same concepts, same terminology, you know, and obviously the difference in 5-on-5 and 7-on-7 is there's so much more space in 7-on-7. Like you got the wider field, you got the 1 yard rush. So, but yeah, there's differences and similarities there. Yeah.
So what is the difference in kind of field size between sevens? Because I mean, I've only really been exposed to 5v5 as much, and not because my daughter's younger. She hasn't gotten to the high school level yet, where it'll be
Right.
more 7v7. And I've seen some of it on TV, but like, what is this field size dramatically different?
Oh yeah, yeah. 5-on-5 is 25 yards wide. The women's game, I believe, is 40 yards wide, and yeah, it opens it up. But the field's a lot longer, so you got a lot to cover, right? So when you get like in flag, when we get in that back half, like after a team gets a first down, I always tell my team get very aggressive because the field shrunk, right? So now if you have better athletes and that field shrinks, we can be more aggressive. In sevens, you can't play it that way because there's so much more room behind you. Yeah, and then sevens is a lot more similar to tackle, right? Because you got the corners, the safeties, the backers. So it's a lot more similar. It's a lot easier game for tackle guys to transition into. There's a lot of we all in the tackle world. I coach tackle as well as a high school head coach back in Miami. We do 7-on-7 practice, and every single practice. So it's very similar to that.
Do you have a preference from one format or the other?
Ooh. Um, no, I like them both. Right now, I'm really loving the 7-on-7 women's game, just because it's making my brain work a lot harder than it has in a long time for football. So I'm really enjoying it. But I love both, and I love the fact I get to do both. Right? It's just, yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite. You put me on the spot there. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
like both of my kids. Which one of my kids do I love
Yeah.
more? I love them both the same.
Stay neutral, yeah. So it's Nevada State, is that right? At the collegiate level that you're coaching?
Yep, Nevada State University.
Nevada State. How long have they had a program for? Is that at Division two or Division one? What level is that?
So last year was our first program. It was our first year of the program. It was the first year of sports in the school. So we were independent last year. We went 13-0, and then next year we're going to be in the NAIA. So
NAI? Okay, yeah, no.
yeah, so
Which,
we're pretty excited about that because I wish we were in it this year. Our team was really good, and we only got stronger for next year.
yeah, I'm trying to get the gal for the coach from Kaiser on, and which should be good. But it's intriguing to me to see some of the powerhouses that there've been on the NAI level. Like I just think about what I've known about sports and watching sports, and you got Division one and the Power Four level, and some of the guy sports that I watch, and then it goes down to Division two. Maybe there's a little bit less scholarships. Division three, maybe none, and then NAIA. Well, it seems as though it's almost flipped initially, where NAIA have jumped out as kind of the ones that have been doing it the longest at the collegiate level. It's been a varsity sport. They've offered scholarships. They, just some between Warner and Kaiser and what is it, Ottawa? It's like some of the real powerhouse teams.
Oh yeah, so right now the NAIA is the big dog in women's college football. Now that you got schools building programs. You got Nebraska, you got Cal Poly, schools like that. Eventually, I think it's going to even out. It's going to be just like the men's football. Eventually, there's the big time Division ones will be the biggest ones. I think it's going to take some time. Like they don't start really till 2028. They can't compete for a national championship in Division one level. And I think that 28, 29, 30 is when those programs are going to take off.
So will there be mixed competition at all across the divisional levels and maybe in some cases including club teams, or how will that work? Do you know?
Oh yeah, definitely there's going to be mixed. Like last year we played USC, Arizona State, some club teams, right? Um, yeah, so it's definitely going to be mixed for a while. Like I can tell you right now that I want nothing more next year than to play Cal Poly and Nebraska, right? So it'll be mixed for a while, and then I'm sure, just like everything else, right? When it gets really big, Division one will just play Division one.
Eventually they'll have probably more resources to throw at it, probably more money, and and I got to imagine that getting the coach that Nebraska got was is pretty big. It's a pretty big plunge there into the women's flag football. I mean, it seems to me that she led kind of a dynasty there for a little while at Ottawa.
Oh yeah, I mean, getting the Sauer sisters was a great decision by Nebraska, right? They won 5 in a row. They're the pioneers. So I think Nebraska made a very good hire.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, now's the segment we'll go into that kind of the coach's corner segment. So you're gonna go ahead and highlight some things that you do, kind of talk us through it, and so that the average layman can understand it, and kind of what works well.
Oh, perfect. Actually has some videos here from the Fanatics game. Perfect. There we go. All right. Yep, so this play here, so you'll see on this play here, right? So we get a pick six on this play, right? So we are in a cover two, right? Against the pro guys, we kind of showed it a little bit because we knew they didn't have the experience to really adjust in the flag game. So we're showing it. But if you see here, right, so I'm going to play it first. I'm going to play it right through. Let me turn that off. Here, right? So we get that pick six. But if you see it the way we're playing it in coverage, right? Even though we're in a cover two, we're passing it through, right? So here, the guys played perfect on these rules, right? They're trying to run a mesh concept right here. Alvin Kamara is pushing deep, pushing vertical. So Nu's going to let him go, right? Because he knows back here, he knows back here there's going to be there's safety help, right? And then Isaiah here, this guy's pushing vertical, but you got Diggs coming across, so he knows he's going to carry this guy just enough to take away the window so they can't hit it. So you see how he's carrying the defender deep, the receiver deep, and then he's going to come right down here and take this away. And then Nu is doing the same thing. He's trying to split these. If we give something up on this, it's going to be this short one right here. Right? Nu does a great job of just carrying Alvin Kamara just enough and then selling out. Right? You're up 30-8. You can be a little bit more aggressive. And he just goes and plays the ball. And then Isaiah sits right here and just waits for Diggs to get here. And we'll see it. Again, real quick. Probably should have pulled it up on my huddle. I apologize. Boom. So see how they all pass it through? Yeah. Everybody's taken away, right? So that's
pick six, yeah.
Yeah. So that, so it's a big thing, right? So we are playing a cover two, right? So even though we're playing a cover two, we're still taking away that middle first. We're carrying that deep route to let the safety get there. And then at that point, we're just playing football. Eventually in flag football, after about 3 seconds, everything becomes man, right? So here's this one. So on this play here, what they're doing here is they have Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts back, right? And then 3 receivers. So we make a decision. The defensive call is to kill both of these, right? What I mean by kill is we're not going to give them any time. So our rusher is doing what we call going from 1 to 2, right? So he comes here, our rusher flash is rushing. He's attacking Jalen Hurts, right? Excuse me, on this one, it was a different call. So on this one, we're doing is our rule is left-right. So he has the whole right side. So as soon as Tom Brady gets the ball, he is not following the original quarterback, Jalen Hurts, right? Our linebacker, knows, okay, there's 2 in the backfield. My rule is I got one of them. He picks up Jalen Hurts coming outside. Nothing's there, right? Because most defenses do it where that rusher goes and stays with that original quarterback, right? So they would have stayed with Jalen. We'll just watch it again full speed, right? And in the backside, we're playing a cover 3. Right? We're trying to get Jalen the ball there quick. And then here I actually have one that we did it completely wrong here, Jason, and we gave him a touchdown. Right? Bad call by me on the defensive side. I said, okay, we're going to send 1 rusher to stop 2 guys. Horrible decision on my part. So you'll see it. So see how much time we give to Joe. No, this is not the one. I apologize. I will definitely get to that one because it was an exhilarating play. Okay. So here we played great defense. We're on 4th down, right? like I said, it was my fault. You see how we just have flash here?
Yeah.
One rusher, and we got four defenders back. We give all this time for Joe Burrow, and obviously Joe Burrow has the Heisman Trophy winner. He's a cannon, right?
Yeah.
So if you see here, we give all this time. We kind of, sold out. Boom, gives us time. Finally gets it back to Jaden Daniels. Just outruns us, right?
Yeah.
But if we would have sent two and killed it, you wouldn't have had time to set like that because our backer would have been there to get in Jalen Hurts' face right away. Right? That's our head coach, George Cascudo, was definitely annoyed with me after making that defensive call. Might have told me an explicit on that one. But yeah, you'll see it. Right? This is why for us it's so important to kill two. Kill it right away. Don't give the time. Sets his feet. Flashes, thinking, oh my God. And Adam scores on us. Right? So definitely in the fives world, in the international play, I'll show you one more, and then we'll get
As you're going into that, so like if you see two threats back there, two good quarterback threats back there, is it that is kind of a principle for?
So here we get definitely that's our principle, right? We kill, and I'll explain to you exactly how we call it. Here's our. I'm sure you know Hoosh, right? He's the face of flag football right now.
Yeah.
See here, so here our defense is right. We're keeping one back there, and he's just chasing 1 to 2 because it's first down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we're just sitting in that zone and waiting for it. Right? We played that one like this because they were so close together.
Yeah.
Right? So here, see that handoff. So we played it different because he's in the backfield. So that corner just sits and waits. Right? So we kind of drop into a cover two where that's Isaiah Calhoun. He's a baller.
So the corners kind of to sit in the flats and
correct. So he's sitting and waiting, right? Because they're right next to each other. So we feel a rusher can get the two of them. If they would have been spread, like the time we gave him the touchdown to Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, we should have killed right away because there was just too much space for a rusher to get to. And our rusher, his name's Flash. He's fast, right? So you don't get the nickname Flash if you're slow. I always mess with them and say, dude, I need Flash, not Barry Allen, right? So we felt comfortable on that one to do that. So Jason, definitely in the international play against teams like Mexico and Canada that like doing. Mexico does a triple throwback, right? So they'll show one guy back, quarterback, and then the center will also drop back. So they're playing three back and then two receivers. And what happens is one of those outside receivers run a deep crosser, and the other receiver is kind of like running a delay. Looks like a bad route, but it's not. It's kind of like a lazy post. But he's giving time for those throwbacks to happen. And if you watch it on film to the naked eye, it looks like a bad route, but it really is a good route. So we kill that right away.
So do you have to evaluate, like, if you're going something like that where it's kind of like triple drop back threats, like are all three of the quarterbacks, is there a drop off and kind of throwing ability to diagnose, ability to place the ball, or is that's all going through your mind, I'm assuming, or do you feel like if they're all three at the same level, all three threats, then that's obviously something you got to look at differently.
Yeah, definitely. So normally Mexico has two really good quarterbacks and one that's just okay. But what I always tell my defense in any level is we want that throwback quarterback throwing the ball. Right? If they were a better quarterback, they would probably be receiving the first snap. So, not everybody's as fortunate as us, and we have Nico and Hoosh, right? My opinion, best two quarterbacks in the world in flag football. Mm-hmm. So we definitely want that second quarterback throwing the ball. That's why we stay on top of that first quarterback to make sure they don't get that ball back. Because now if they get that ball back and there's nobody around them, we're assuming they're the better quarterback out of the two. Right? And there's an intricate rule in IFAF, right? You know how in any form of flag football, if the rusher goes, the clock is gone, right? The 7-second play clock is gone. In international play, the clock only stops when the throwback happens. So even if there's a rush, it's still 7 seconds. So there's times where they'll show 3 and will actually attack the 2 throwbacks. So now there's 2 receivers going out and 3 defenders. So we're winning the numbers game because if he can't make that throwback, the 7-second count is still on. And I will take my 3 defenders against 2 receivers in 7 seconds all day long. So, there's just things like that are intricate in the international game that we don't do it all the time, but we have it, we have it in our back pocket. And we actually did it this weekend in training camp to our offense, and it kind of confused them for a second, and then obviously they figured it out, and Hoosh and Nico kicked our butt.
So as you're constructing a defense, let's just say you take over a new team, and the blitzer is important. I mean, are you necessarily taking your fastest guy and putting him there, or it's got to be a combination of your speed, but can control the speed and break down?
Yeah, so speed obviously helps at rush, but a lot of times in my defenses, my rushers are not only fast, they're one of the smartest or the smartest person on my defense. Right? Because there's so much more to rusher than just going as fast as you can and getting a flag. Right? It's and especially in the international play. Because you have to know the rules on defense. Based on my defensive call, you're either going from 1 to 2 or you're staying with 1. Right? What I mean by 1 to 2 is did I freeze there, Jason?
No.
Perfect. What I mean by 1 to 2 is the rusher's going from the first quarterback to the second quarterback. So he's going 1 to 2. On a certain defensive call, he's staying with 1, somebody else is killing 2. So there's a lot of thinking he has to do. And it's rusher's important. Yeah. Obviously, speed helps, right? I mean, I'm sure they don't want me rushing, and I have a good IQ of the game. So yeah, it's that combination. Coincidentally, on the men's team, our rusher is our fastest guy. So it works out great. But flash IQ is what makes him such a special rusher.
Well, great. No, that was awesome. I think thanks for sharing that. I'll move into the next segment, which will be our rapid fire segment. So I'll ask you some questions and just kind of answer with the first thought that comes to mind, maybe. So first one will be it could be flag or tackle, or maybe one of each, I guess. Best athlete you've personally ever coached?
Flag football. I'm going to say best flag football player because he's not the best athlete. Right, best flag football player ever coached is Nico Caceres.
Your
and
favorite
then
football
combination flag and tackle. It's Sean Moore that I've coached in flag and tackle. That's just as good in both.
Okay. Did Sean go on to play? Did you coach him in high school or?
So I coached Sean in high school for 1 year, and then he transferred to a different school. And then he went on and played at the University of Virginia.
Okay.
Wow. And he's been on the national team before. He did not make the team this year. He had an injury during during tryouts. And yeah, I'm sure he'll be back next year.
Okay. What's your favorite football movie of all time?
Remember the Titans.
All right. That's at this point unanimous. I think everybody's it's probably mine too.
It's just great. I would say Rudy, but it's not my favorite.
Like Rudy. Yeah. How about your favorite NFL player growing up?
My favorite NFL player growing up was Terrell Owens.
Yeah, T.O. He was great.
It was either him or Steve Young. I'm a Niner fan.
Okay. I'm a Steelers fan. The Niners definitely had some good. They're both right up there in terms of Super Bowl wins, but the Niners had some great teams when I was growing up.
Yeah.
What's one rule that if you had the opportunity to, that you'd love to change in flag football?
One rule I would love to change in flag football. Well, that's a great question. I would like to change the rule in international play that the defender can't redirect the receiver on a route and break his path. I think that's a silly rule. I think that
Okay.
if the defender beats him to a spot, he beats him to a spot.
Yeah.
That's football.
Okay. That makes sense. What would you say is the best tournament atmosphere you've ever been around?
That's not international play. Best tournament atmosphere I've been around. It's going to be on the youth side. It's going to be back in the day, the old NFL flag,
Okay.
when they used to just have 8 teams from around the country. The best 8 played. That to me was the best.
Where
With
would
the
they
whole
do that? Was that
32
in Canton?
teams,
Was
I'm
that
not
in
crazy
Canton
about
every
it,
year? I
to be
know it's in
honest.
Indianapolis this year, but
But yeah, that was awesome.
was that in Canton every year? Do you know or was it in the same spot every year that tournament?
No, they would change it. So we actually did it one year. Oh man, my internet stinks. I'm gonna keep talking in case you hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, so it used to be different spots. So one year it was in Jerry's World, Dallas Cowboy Stadium, Arizona, San Francisco. It was amazing. Those were the best. They were run back in the day by USA Football, and yeah, Brittany Brothers used to run it, and it was awesome. Those experiences are second to none. One year we got to go to the Pro Bowl when the Patriots and Seahawks were in that Super Bowl that year.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember, that was the year they had the Pro Bowl the day before the Super Bowl in Arizona years ago.
Yes.
So when the players got there for media day, we got to stand there, all the athletes from all the teams, and give the players high fives. They were coming through the tunnel, and Gronk and Marshawn Lynch and Robert
Yeah.
Kraft. It was just awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say? Would you say there's a most underrated position in flag football?
Most underrated position in flag football that people don't talk about enough is linebacker. Linebacker is the most underrated position because you have to be able to be a linebacker, you have to be able to be a rusher, you have to be able to be a defensive back. You have to do it all. And that to me is a hard position because sometimes you gotta drop into coverage and carry somebody deep. Sometimes you gotta attack a throwback. To me, it's the most underrated position in flag. You
You got to
have
be able to
to.
cover at the same level as your best DBs, right? I mean,
Yes, it's no one talks about it enough, but linebacker is the most important and underrated position. Obviously rusher is important, but that linebacker position is important. I'm fortunate enough. Our starting linebacker last year in USA, his name is Amir Brown. We call him New. I mean, just made it so easy for me to call the defense.
okay. I would imagine you're probably biased towards this answer, but what wins championships more, quarterback play or great defense?
Quarterback play.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Quarterback play. You go as far as your quarterback takes you.
Yeah.
I mean, not every team gets lucky like the Ravens back in the day in '99 where they won it, with
Trent
some
Dilfer?
form of quarterback play.
Yeah.
But yeah, quarterbacks win championships. It is what it is.
Yeah. With that being said, that maybe the best pure quarterback you've ever seen in flag.
Best pure quarterback. Pure quarterback is Nico Caceres. Now, best quarterback I've seen all around is Hoosh.
Because of everything he could do, how versatile he is, and
Everything he does. Two completely different quarterbacks. That's what makes Team USA so great.
yeah,
Pure passers, Nico. Flag quarterback is probably Hoosh.
yeah. No, that's and to be honest with you, before the Fanatics game, I didn't know as much about Nico. I knew Hoosh, and I thought he was the quarterback. So to see the dual quarterback play and some of the different strengths for each, that could be really tough to defend.
Yeah, I can tell you, Jason, that when we practice and we have training camp, I always tell Nico, Hoosh, Pablo, Velt, Velt, guy's electric, man. I actually told him in film study on Friday night, we were doing something. I looked at him, I said, I am so happy I don't have to game plan against you because I don't know how I could stop you. So, yeah, fortunate they're on my side.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure the players have pregame music, but you as a coach, do you have pregame music you listen to?
Oh, no, no, no. I go into very quiet mode. My mind is always thinking about 40 different things at once. So before the game, I really, really try to dial in and get in the moment.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
really,
that makes
really
sense.
no music. I kind of sit alone, and before every game, if I always sit alone and take about 2 or 3 minutes. I have a ritual. I walk sideline to sideline. I pray, try to calm myself down, pop us in, and go to town.
Nice. Get you locked in.
Yeah.
So if there was one NFL game, it could be current, it could be of all time, that you could take and insert onto a flag football team that you think would dominate, who would that be?
I've given this a lot of thought, Jason. Barry Sanders.
Wow, yeah, that would be. Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, seeing the way he'd stop and start and change directions, how shifty. I mean, it reminded me of like some of the moves that I was seeing, and
Yeah.
some of the guys from Team USA, some of the way that they move, and to not break full speed, to do some of the way they contort their body, it's so amazing to me.
So it's funny. Belt caught a little pass and did like four dip moves, the hip, and I'm gonna send it to you after. You actually hear him tell the NFL guys in the middle of a move, "Excuse me," and keeps running by him. Um, um, Luke Kuechly, Belt ran off the field. He's like, "Bro, do you even have kneecaps?" And it was hilarious. You know, the
That's
way they
awesome.
move, Jason. I'll be honest. If I dipped the way Belt did, you're gonna have to call an ambulance. I'm not getting up.
Me too, for sure. Oh, what would you say your favorite football rivalry is?
My favorite football rivalry.
Could be as a fan, it could be as a coach.
Oh, my favorite football rivalry as a coach is Red Zone from Miami and Ryan Football from Miami as a coach. We battled. Red Zone, just like us, had great athletes, good coaching. Actually, the women's coach Saeed was with Red Zone, and man, we had some battles. That's probably my most fun. That rivalry to coach against. Currently, it's Mexico without a doubt because they make me really coach. And professionally, even though it's not relevant anymore, I love the '90s Cowboys versus Niners.
Those
It's
were
my
the
favorite
best
all time.
games. Those playoff games were trying to think which one. I think if it was the 49ers documentary or the Cowboys documentary, but either way, they went into that, some of those great games and in the 90s, yeah, they were amazing. It's great
Yeah.
football. And last, what city would you say has the city that you've been to has the best flag football culture?
Best flag football culture, Miami, Florida.
Okay. Would you say
That I've
Florida
been to, right? I've heard a lot of great things from other cities, but from what I've seen, Miami.
Would you say that Florida in general is kind of ahead of all the other states in terms of the popularity of the game and some of the great
Um,
players?
some of the great players, definitely. The popularity of the game, I think there's a little bit more in the Northeast right now. All the bigger tournaments are in that Northeast. The West Coast is catching up, definitely on the girls' side.
Hmm.
But right now, I'd say the most flag football is in that Northeast. That New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania area.
Yeah.
But the best flag football, I still believe, is in Florida.
Okay.
On the men's side, the best flag football is definitely on the girls' side. I believe the best flag football is from Texas to the West Coast.
Okay. Very good. And then the last thing I'll ask you is, so if you're in my shoes and you're trying to have a podcast to really highlight the game, celebrate the game, bring awareness to the game, and with some of the top coaches, top players, people like that, who are some people that I should absolutely try to get in front of?
Yeah, so definitely, a great person on the podcast is Nico Caceres. He's incredible. Really, any of the guys in the men's team, right? On the women's side, on the USA side, anybody would be really good. Definitely in the youth side, I think somebody that'll be really cool to talk to is Ryan from Conquer. I forget his last name. He's
Bertoni?
great. His name's Ryan.
Ryan, is it Ryan Bertoni?
Yes, Ryan Bertoni. Yes, he runs Conquer in California. They're awesome. They're really good. And then you can grab like a Jason Clam would be really good too.
Yeah. His daughter's on the women's national team, right?
Yeah, she's incredible. I think she's, if not the best, one of the best players in the world.
Yeah. No, that's great. And the girls team, it seems like they've got great personalities. There's one um, Izzy Geraci that I'm trying to get on. She's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio, and I saw how she was a basketball player. Played
Yeah.
at Cleveland State and kind of transitioned to flag, which is see a lot of the highlights of her making those kind of one hand catches and head top plays.
Oh, she's amazing. A great personality. Get her and Nico on there together.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that would be really cool. Actually, be a really cool dynamic.
yeah. Well, Coach, thank you so much. This has been educational for me. Just you've had some great stories and some of the things that you've covered. Really appreciate. And this is exactly what I'm trying to accomplish with this. It's just get knowledgeable people in the space on here to again help others who are just kind of joining on board with flag football and the popularity of it. And it's gonna keep getting even better. The closer we get to the Olympics, and there's more excitement and more anticipation leading up to it. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on today.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time. I had a blast, Jason. And I'll let you know next time I'm in Arizona. I'm there all the time for Nevada State games. I'll let you know. And maybe you
Yeah,
can
I'd
go
love
watch
to
a
take my
game.
daughter, bring my daughter to come watch a game. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can be on the sideline with us, and she can kind of get that. Our girls are great. They'll introduce themselves to your daughter and be in the sideline, and hang out with us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Well, you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, man. Talk soon.
All right, bye.